If Ron Paul's the president, what do you do with the border?
I would bring our troops home from Iraq. I would not worry about the borders between Syria and Iraq. I would save a lot of money. I would use those money and the personnel to beef up our borders. I have a bill in that would do away with birthright citizenship. I would never give amnesty. And the most important thing we would do is eliminate the incentives for the illegals to bring their families. And that is no benefits, no free medicine, no free education, and no easy access to our Social Security system. Then we might have a program. But instead, we have an administration now that you seem to be quite pleased with that is moving toward the North American Union.
We're not pleased with the administration.
Huh?
Yeah, because you've said something inaccurate once again, so we are going to chime in.
Well,
again, you want to discuss how we operate?
Every single policy that you criticize me on is endorsed by this administration, so there's no reason why I can't...
We are not together with him on the border.
Yeah, but you are with him on wait a minute. You are with him on the foreign policy, so therefore you are strong supporters of this president because you have been so highly critical of every single thing I've said about a pro-American foreign policy of non-intervention endorsed by the founders.
What I'm critical of is
with the Republican Party.
What I'm critical of, Ron, is your isolationist policy. Yeah, I am critical of that.
Let me answer that. Let me answer that. It is not isolationism. Isolationism is protectionism, and I'm not for that. I'm for free trade. I'm for low tariffs. I think what we have now is diplomatic isolationism. We have more enemies than ever before, and we have less allies than ever before, so we are isolated ourselves from the world.
That's all Democrat nonsense. That's all Democrat demagoguery.
Well, I'm not a Democrat, so maybe I just might be objective.
All right, tell us what you've done. What have you done to fix the border? What have you done to secure the border? What have you done to stop the incentives for being here illegally? What have you done on any of those things?
The best I can do is speak out and introduce the legislation, the proper legislation. If you would get...
What legislation have you introduced that we can get behind?
Every single thing I just said I have legislation on, whether it's birthright citizenship or denying benefits or getting out of Social Security for illegal immigrants. I've introduced all that legislation. So if you believe that is correct, and we only have 10 or 15% in Congress that agree with me, your job ought to be to talk up those programs and say, Ron Paul's on the right position on immigration. Why don't you get in there and help him? Because if you look around in our Texas delegation, I don't have very many co-sponsors, and that's what we need.
Where are you on these border agents? I haven't seen you once on Fox News talking about the border agents that have...
well, Fox News hasn't invited me on there. I think we should...
What do you have to say about them, sir?
Well, I have written a very strong letter to the Speaker and the Judiciary Committee to find out, what really went on.
What's the date of that letter? What's the date of that letter?
I have no idea. It's a couple months ago, but I'm sure you can find it from my office if that's
I've got it
to you.
I've got it. Believe me, that's why I asked the question. The date of the letter is February the 22nd, which means from last September until February, we had no statement from you. We've been on this since September.
Okay. Let me tell you one reason why you should sometimes take a pause. Think about the policing activity of the United States government when it came to Ruby Ridge and Waco. I mean, we weren't exactly saintly on that, so I don't think it's right to jump to a conclusion that everything the federal police force and the BATF does...
Please tell me you're not comparing Ruby Ridge to what these border agents did when they shot a guy in the butt.
Right, I did not compare it to it, but I'm comparing it to the fact...
You just did.
No, that is not correct. It's the analysis.
Right.
You should look at it, more sensibly because, right and wrong is not absolutely determined by one person on TV. Mm-hmm. So I would say yes, that I believe these guys are probably very much deserving.
Or one person in Congress. One person in Congress. Sir, we don't have time for this segment. Let me wrap this up for you if I can. I'll tell you, we'll put him on hold if we have to. But you got to share the conversation in your filibuster.
Oh, he doesn't want to do that.
That's okay.
Yeah, I know.
Here's the deal. If all we're getting out of the 14th District, which is a strong conservative district, is a lone voice crying in the wilderness, then I think that the people in that district are not being actively, effectively represented. That's my concern.
I guess he doesn't have any.
Are you still talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay. I could hardly tell. Well, I think the proof of the pudding is in the election. I've been elected how many times? A good many times, and each time my percentages seem to be pretty high. And I would say that they know very much what I'm like, and I would say that the district has high regards for low taxes, small government, and they believe that I'm telling the truth and doing my very best. And believe me, they believe in the Constitution. If you go back and listen to every single thing I've said today, you will not find one thing that contradicts the Constitution. I am much closer to the Constitution than any position that you took today, and non-intervention and a pro-American foreign policy and a strong national defense is what we're responsible for, not policing the world and not pretending that we can nation build. That is a foolhardy game, and it's doomed to failure.
All right. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Come join us again.
Yeah, please.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
sure.
Well, maybe both of us could be more calm.
I doubt it. That wouldn't be any fun.
Well, I can do it. If you put an effort into it. I bet I could do it.
Join us anytime, and we can either debate how we show, or we can actually have a debate. I'm on your side now, Ed. You convinced me. You convinced me. 8:57 at the Voice of Texas.